Where are you at right now, less than 24 hours later?
Well, I mean, of course, bewildered. I got back last night and stayed up until probably like everybody until 1 a.m, talking to people and texting people. And then, on X, looking at the reaction. And I woke up this morning and I thought to myself, that's really not the way at all, to sit and marinate in the hate. Which I did. I couldn't help it. It's like pornography or snuff videos or something. You're just like mesmerized by it. It's like watching, a tragedy over and over. Not the violence, but the hate. I mean, I must have watched 15 videos of young women celebrating Charlie's death, and my first thought was, well, this is obviously some kind of, manufactured attempt to divide the country against itself, and it's probably all fake. And then you look, and it's actually not fake. Here's a teacher from an elementary school in Idaho, and here's a yoga instructor from West Hollywood, and these are like real people with real names. And then you realize, boy, I mean, the depth of evil out there is really overwhelming. Like, what do I know the country? Do I know who lives here? Like, what is this? And I was just, I couldn't turn away. And then I realized when I woke up this morning, that's really hurting me. And I woke up to a group text from my wife, to our family text. Of course, everyone knew Charlie. He was just at our house, and very upset for a bunch of different reasons. And she sent Luke 6, which is like the most radical thing that anyone's ever said. And it's like, no, love your enemies, pray for your persecutors. When someone assaults you, don't fight back. Which is impossible, of course. I mean, no one can do that, and it literally takes supernatural intervention for anyone to live that way, much less to feel that way. And that's what's called for, is supernatural intervention. I mean, you can take all kinds of steps. We do need to restore order in the country, and no one's kind of done that for the last 50 years. And this is the end result of true disorder. And by order, by the way, that doesn't mean authoritarian behavior or limiting people's constitutional rights or races. There's nothing like that. I mean, order is the key to happiness and peace. Order is what God creates out of chaos at the beginning of Genesis. Like, order is a prerequisite for joy. So we need order. We don't have it. I hope it's restored. But much more deeply, people need to be transformed and see each other as God sees them, including their enemies, as human beings who are doing bad things but are still created by God. Like, without that worldview, then you descend into hell. In fact, you already live there, which is where, in some sense, we live now. And boy, that just became clear because it happened to me. I mean, I was sitting there fuming and despair and like, by the way, what was this? There's always a lot going on in the backdrop, a lot. And I don't know, of course, the answer, but everyone's got an opinion on that. And it really took me away from Charlie, Erica, and their children, and the things that you should be meditating on and praying about. It just totally took me out of that into this place of hate, and I don't want to go there. So let me just say quickly about Charlie. I've known him since he was a teenager, and just an amazing person. But the two things that stick out, he's a Christian man, and we talked about that a lot, including just the other day. There's a lot of pressure on public people who run huge, $100 million a year nonprofits, and there are a lot of pitfalls and traps. That's why so many of them are destroyed. And Charlie really did, without betraying details, like, he walked the line for real. It was the topic of many conversations between us, because I've seen so many people destroyed. Most people are destroyed by power, and he wasn't. And I just really admire that. I mean, to his last moments, in order, he cared about God, his wife, and his children, and then his country. So, and that was totally real, completely real. I can affirm that because I just talked to him about it so much. And I admire that, and he was a model, really. I mean, he didn't have hate in his heart, and it was funny, and again, it's one of the reasons I couldn't stop looking at these videos last night. People were describing the opposite of what he was. He was filled with hate. No. And if you talk to him about people who had attacked him or who were truly his enemies, up to, and I think including the people who assassinated him yesterday, he would never, ever express hate, ever. He would always turn to, no, this person has been led astray. This person is clearly possessed by dark forces. This person is a perpetrator, but also a victim of evil. I mean, that really was his worldview. That's the Christian worldview. And he expressed that in public and especially in private. And I think that faith, which was completely real, not the fake faith that you see on display so often, but a real one, That was the root of his courage. And he had real courage. He loved being with people who disagreed with him, not theoretically with them, but physically with them, like close enough to smell. He would wait right in the middle of everything. I could tell you a million stories that I saw, but that was absolutely real. Like, he loved people, even people who hated him, and people he loved. He was the rare person who was willing to tell them what he thought was true. I mean, he really believed, as a political matter, by the way, that, I don't think he had animus toward anybody in no other country, but he really believed in his own country and the obligation of his government to stand behind his country. He was truly America first in the nicest, most decent, non-ideological, but sincere way. He was one of the only people, truly one of the only people to go to the president whom he loved. He loved Donald Trump, like personally as well. And I think the president really loved him in a real way. But he was one of the only people to go to the Oval Office and say, sir, I totally understand and think Iran's really bad, but a war with Iran is not, is something that could really hurt our country. That was an unpopular position. He didn't need to express it. Oh, of course. And he did it again. He didn't have some weird agenda. He wasn't mad at anybody. He was for his country, and he was for doing the right and wise and difficult thing. And he said that. He went to the Oval Office to say that. He took massive abuse from his own donors, which is also something that you don't see people. And he loved his donors. It wasn't a hostile thing, but they had a different view. A lot of them, not all, but a lot. And they expressed it to him in a very intense way. I know because he showed me. And he said, look, I understand your perspective. This is my perspective, and we're going to do what we think is the right thing, the wise thing.
In that way, too, he was the voice of young people. There are no young people in the country anymore supporting this war and wanting Israel to continue its bombing campaign. That's just the truth. Look at the polls. And he was in touch with them. And even where his own opinion may have differed from their opinion, he felt like he owed it to them to bring their message to the sitting president of the United States. That's what's been snuffed out.
Well, as he has been, unfortunately, but he was one of the very few people I have met who combined a love for everyone involved with strong views. So again, he was not animated by anything creepy or weird. You knew him intimately, so this is true. If you talk to him off camera, he would say, I really, I love whoever I'm talking about, but I think this is wrong. It's immoral. It's bad for everybody involved, both sides. And he would say that, and he could say that because it was sincere. It was completely sincere, but I cannot overstate the amount of attacks he took privately over this, absolutely for real. And having lived in Washington most of my life and seen people run nonprofits, I've never met one who was willing. Stand up is too strong. He wasn't confrontational, but he would just say, no, I'm sorry that you feel that way, but I think this is the right thing. The people we represent, which is mostly young people, they believe this, and I believe it also. It was brave, but loving at the same time. And I'm not sure he made a lot of headway, by the way. I think he made real enemies in doing that, but his view didn't change. Anyway, he was just a wonderfully decent, loving man. That is true.
When inflation jumps, when you hear the national debt is over $37 trillion, do you ever think maybe now would be a good time to buy some gold? Well, you'd be right. Whether as a hedge against inflation, peace of mind during global instability, or just for sensible diversification, Birch Gold Group believes every American should own physical gold. And so they created something special. Until September 30th, if you're a first-time gold buyer, Birch Gold is offering a rebate of up to $10,000 in free metals on qualifying purchases. To claim eligibility and start the process, request an info kit right now. Just text MK to 989898. Plus, Birch Gold can help you roll an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold, and you're still eligible for a rebate in free metals of up to 10 grand. So make right now your first time to buy gold and take advantage of a rebate up to $10,000 when you buy before September 30th. Text MK to the number 989898 to claim your eligibility and get your free info kit. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.